Hi people! After a year away from my YouTube, I'm back. And as most of you know, I went on my month-long backpacking trip to Europe last September. It was a year ago. The reason I'm making videos again is since my trip, I've had so many friends tell me that they're taking their own trip, whether it be solo travel or with a friend. People keep asking me for tips, and I always say, I am not a travel guru. All I can do is speak from my own experiences, so please take everything that I say with a grain of salt. What I can tell you is my trip was perfect. I spent over a year planning, saving, sketching out every possible scenario, and I do not regret one single thing from my month spent in Europe. So what I wanted to do is make some videos to hopefully help out my friends prepare just as well as I did. So what I'm going to talk about today is 5 game changers for a long haul flight. I don't mean domestic flights from Dallas to Seattle, I mean international flights. Some of these tips were offered to me by other people and some I just figured out on my own. International flights can suck, but here are a few things that I learned that actually made my flights pretty enjoyable.
I owned every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. Yeah, with every broken bone, I swear I lived.
Tip number 1, Scot's Cheap Flights. Scot's Cheap Flights is a website that you can subscribe to. It started out with this guy named Scot, and he started finding really cheap flights for his friends and sending them out. Then he turned it into a business, like any millennial would. Now, I'll be honest, I actually did not use Scot's Cheap Flights before my trip because I didn't know about it, and I paid almost $1,200 for a round trip ticket. Had I known about this website, I probably could have done the exact same trip for $400 or $500. It is insanely cheap. They find the best deals for you and they email them out. They could send you 10 a day. They might send you 1 every couple of days. There's not a quota because they only send out the best deals that they find. I've been getting their emails for months now and there's so many incredible deals. You have absolutely no excuse not to be on this website. If you choose to pay for a premium membership like I do, I think I pay $15 every 3 months, super cheap. You get twice as many emails and you also get first dibs. They will send it out to their premium subscribers first, normally like a couple of days before. And sometimes these fares only last for a couple days or some a couple of hours. So you get first dibs at this. So it's well worth the very few dollars that it costs. But if you don't want to do that, you can do a free subscription too. Scot's Cheap Flights is a game changer. It's amazing. You will save so much money. If you were paying $1,000 like I did for an international flight, you're an idiot. Who's an idiot? This girl. Not anymore. Tip number 2, download the app SeatGuru. It is absolutely a game changer. I'm so glad I found it before my trip. After you buy your tickets for your flight, go into SeatGuru, type in the flight number and the date, and the seating chart for the plane pops up and you are able to see every possible seat number. Why is this so great? First of all, there are pictures that people have taken and reviewed of the plane, so you can see exactly what your plane is going to look like. But the best part is you can click on each individual seat and see why it might be a good seat or why it might be a bad seat. If the seat is red, that obviously means it's bad, and it'll give you a reason. It might be near the bathrooms, it might say less legroom, it'll tell you everything you need to know. So I considered picking one seat because it was the furthest ahead in the economy. I didn't want to be at the very, very back of the plane. But the seat that I almost picked, I looked on SeatGuru and there actually wasn't a window because there was a door protruding. So it being my first international flight, I wanted a window seat. I wanted to be able to see Ireland as I was touching down. And if I had chosen this seat, I wouldn't have gotten to do that. So I chose the seat right behind and I got to see Ireland. There are a million things that could go wrong with your seat, so you want to pick the right one so you won't be uncomfortable for 8 to 15 hours. These things matter, people. Download it, use it, you can thank me later. Tip number 3, bring the flight attendants gifts. I know this sounds a little strange and it might sound a little devious, but just go with me. My brother was actually the first one to tell me about this and I tried it It was amazing, and I'm doing it for every international trip that I ever go on. They are working that entire time that you are just sitting in a chair for 10 hours. They are constantly making sure that everyone is safe. They are dealing with stupid passengers, rushing to get everything that you need, and they honestly deserve our appreciation. That being said, if you bring your flight attendants gifts, it may or may not come with a few perks. So there are some rules as to what you can bring the flight crew. It has to be safe for obvious reasons, so look those up on Google. What I did was I brought a big bag of individually wrapped chocolates. So as I was boarding my flight, the first flight attendant that I saw, I handed her the chocolates with a thank you card. I signed it, but I put my seat number in it as well. That is key. Put your seat number at the bottom of the card. I went back to my seat and I got all settled in. And then one of the flight attendants, who looked like the head honcho, came to the back and asked me to follow her to the front. And she led me inside the cockpit where I got to meet the pilots and we took pictures. It was super cheesy, but so fun. And then the pilot took me for a personal tour of where they sleep, where they eat. It was just a really fun little experience that I got to text my mom before I took off. But it didn't end there, because then when we landed in Ireland, the same flight attendant came back and gave me a bottle of nice champagne. The whole time I'm thinking, all because I brought you some chocolate? It's not a big deal, but just the fact that someone took the time to say thank you, it went a really long way with them. On my last day in Europe, I stopped and got a box of macaroons. I wrote a little note, and the same thing happened. Every flight attendant throughout the flight was coming to my seat, thanking me for bringing them goodies. They brought me this little bag that they give to first class passengers that had a nice sleep mask, it had toiletries, it had gum, just this really sweet little thank you gift from them. I understood then how rarely they must be shown that kind of appreciation, so after that I knew I wanted to do it every flight. It's amazing what can happen when you show a little kindness. You might just get a really nice bottle of champagne. You might not get anything at all, and that's okay. I don't think you'll regret saying thank you. Tip number 4, when you book your flight, order the vegan meal. I know a lot of you are gonna roll your eyes at the word vegan, but just hear me out. Whether you're vegan or not, this is the way to go. There are multiple reasons why I say that. The first being, you will be the first person to get your food on the flight. If you haven't heard by now that you need to stay extremely hydrated on long haul flights, I'm telling you now. You have to drink a lot of water, but also you need to avoid a lot of salt. Don't bring the salty chips or the salty almonds, and don't eat meat. You don't want to deal with that water retention. It's also going to help with your jet lag, not to be dehydrated. Don't know if it's true, but I heard that the vegan meals are a lot fresher than the regular meals. The meals that I got on my flights were delicious. I wasn't missing out on anything by not having meat and cheese. They hooked a sister up. Forfeiting that one piece of chicken could change a lot for the better. Just do it. Moving on. Tip number 5. Choose a flight that lands at your destination in the morning. I was going from Chicago to Ireland, and my plane landed in Ireland at 7:30 in the morning. This is going to help majorly with jet lag. As soon as we landed and I went through customs, I went to my hostel, checked in, and then I spent that entire day exploring. Yes, I was exhausted. Yes, I just wanted to take a nap. But it helped me from wasting part of my trip because I used that whole day and then I came back to my hostel and crashed hard. The next morning, I woke up ready to go. If you get in at night, you're already going to be thrown off because you're in a time zone on the other side of the world. If you choose a flight that lands in the morning, do what you can to sleep on the flight. I know it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me, but it'll tide you over until the next night when you can get a full night's sleep. As tired as I was that first day, I had zero jet lag from that day out. I actually had jet lag when I came back, It was miserable. If I had had that there in Europe, I would have missed out on so many things. I would have been too exhausted to go explore. It's not worth it. But the biggest part of this is you cannot go to sleep once you get there. You have to wait until it's nighttime because you're resetting your body's clock. You want it to be on the time zone of wherever you are, not what it is back home, or it's completely pointless. Get there in the morning, use that day to explore, and then you can go to bed early and start early the next morning. You're welcome. So that's it. 5 easy tips to make your long haul flight so much better. If you like these kind of videos or want more of these kind of videos, please like and subscribe. I'm not trying to be some YouTube star. Far too much work. I just want to help my people out. Send me any ideas you have for more videos, and I can't wait to hear about your trip. Okay, bye!